What's up, Raider Nation? My name is Steven Michaels. You are listening to the voice of the voiceless for Raider Nation. This is the greatest Raider show in the world, the Raiders Daily Podcast. Let's get right into it. Here we go. The Raiders pull off a big win in a game they had to win or the season would be over. And that goes for, by the way, the next 3 games. The Raiders must defeat the Broncos on Sunday, this coming on the 26th. And then they have to, this is going to be a big one then. They're going to have to go in week 17 into Indianapolis and win the game. They have to beat the Colts. And then, of course, they end the season against the LA Chargers. The Raiders got to win out to make the playoffs. They have to. Because before last week's games where if certain teams would have, for example, the Bills beat the Patriots. If the Patriots were to beat the Bills, the Raiders actually could have got into the playoffs and lost against the Colts. Like, made it in being 9-8. They really could have. But now they can't do that. Now they have to win out, and they still need help. They still need, for example, the Bills are playing the Patriots again. If the Patriots can win that game, that would be huge for the Raiders. You're going to want the Bengals out of it, So there's a lot of things, a lot of different scenarios how the Raiders can get in. But, they can really get in just by winning out. But that's not all. They need help still. The Colts do play Arizona. You're going to want to root for Arizona in that game big time, because the Raiders have to beat, obviously, the Colts, which just sounds like it's going to be impossible. Even judging by the way the Raiders beat the Cleveland Browns. Listen, the Browns didn't really had Nick Mullins as their quarterback, and the Raiders, they only won 16-14. It's not like they should have won, in my opinion, probably by 3 or 4 touchdowns, but that's not how it went down. There was a lot of guys. Derek Carr had a couple of times where he had guys open, didn't see him, threw it elsewhere. Can't really put it all on Derek Carr, though, because these wide receivers, Bryan Edwards, even Foster Monroe, Deshaun Jackson, all of them, they're just dropping passes now, it seems like almost every week, especially Foster Monroe, and that really, really bothers me because this guy can be really good. He could be a really good tight end in a National Football League, but you can't drop those easy passes. Bryan Edwards, this is a guy, he does the same thing, and they fumbles. The fumbling is really, really just mind-blowing. How these guys can fumble so many times. That's all they do is, it's almost like they just keep fumbling. So anyways, Derek Carr was 25 for 38 in this game, 236 yards. And this game went all the way down to the last second. It went all the way down. Derek Carr throws an interception. Everyone pretty much thought the game was over at that point. But the Raiders defense, with a big stop, a huge stop, gives the Raiders enough time to make a few passes, and Zay Jones luckily holds on to the football so Daniel Carlson can kick the game-winning field goal. But let me tell you something, this is a game where, if I'm Gus Bradley, Nick Mullins is not really going to kill you through the air. Nick Mullins, by the way, was 20 for 30, 147 yards. He only averaged 4.9 yards. It was all a dink and dunk or screens, pretty much. The guy, he wasn't going to do much. The whole game was Nick Chubb. That was the whole game. And the Raiders still let the guy have 23 carries for 91 yards. And they're pretty much running almost every single play. I don't know. That run defense, that's what was getting me nervous about this game. It really was. Can the Raiders stop Nick Chubb? They didn't stop him completely, obviously, score a touchdown. But they did stop them on that last drive to give the Raiders offense a chance to get back on that field. And as long as Derek Carr doesn't throw another stupid interception like he did right before that, I knew the Raiders could win the game. They had enough time. I was concerned that they only had those 2 timeouts because the Raiders wasted one because I don't know what was going on there. I mean, they couldn't get the snap off. Derek Carr's yelling at Andre James and, snap the ball. The guy's just not snapping it. If you're Andre James at that point, I mean, you got to know what's going on, right? I mean, you hear your quarterback. There's no way you don't, and you're looking through your I don't know. It's just weird. So anyways, they had to call a timeout for that. So they didn't have that other timeout. If they did, it would have helped a lot, but they didn't need it. They did not need it. They end up winning, like I said, by a Daniel Carlson field goal. Zay Jones, this guy has been disappointing since he came to the Raiders, in my opinion. But he ended the day with 6 catches, 67 yards. Foster Monroe had 7 catches, 65 yards. Foster, like I said, I mean, this guy could be good, but those drops, man, those drops really do drive me crazy. I mean, it's just dumb, really. So anyways, the Raiders, one of the reasons this game, like I said, Nick Chubb was pretty much running the ball the entire game. And the Raiders' rush defense, as you know, not that great. But the Raiders ended up getting the victory, and what do I say? Week after week. A win is a win. I don't care if Derek Carr has 20 interceptions. If he wins the game, I'm happy. You get it? When Raider fans are happy, it makes me happy. I win when the Raiders win. That's how this all works. So everything, this is a game where the Raiders could have easily lost, but they did a good job. The Raiders did a good job at committing to running the football, even though Josh Jacobs, I believe he had only like 52 yards. They were still running it, still trying to run it. There were, I think some big plays that Carr did not see on the field, but that's been going on for about 3 weeks now. But the biggest thing was, of course, the Raiders, they just found a way to win this game. I mean, think about it. They lost the turnover battle. They had 2 turnovers. But what they won was the first downs battle. The Raiders had 20 first downs. The Browns only had 13. That is huge, obviously. And even with the Browns running the ball so much, the Raiders, they wanted to win time of possession. And usually when they do win time of possession, their record is pretty good. They won time of possession in this game, 33 minutes to 26 minutes. They win it. One of the best plays of the game, I believe, was when they went for the fake punt and got it on 4th and 1. Now, to be honest, I think Derek Carr probably could have just did a QB sneak a QB sneak is the safest way. They get a couple inches. They would have got it that way regardless. So a fake punt is a little scary to do on a 4th and 1. And that when it's 4th and 3 or something like that, yeah, that's when you do it. 4th and 1, doing a fake punt, little scary. But it worked out. It worked out in the Raiders' favor just when you think the game was over, too. I mean, this game, like I said, it looked like it was completely finished. It looked like it was done. When Derek Carr threw that interception, I believe, I got to check here real quick, but I believe Derek Carr threw that interception with just under 3 minutes to go. And, the Browns did nothing. They go 3 and out. The Raiders defense shuts it down very, very fast. The Browns tried to run Nick Chubb all 3 times. Max Crosby had a big first stop on first down, limited Chubb to only 2 yards. After that, the Raiders called a timeout. This is where that third timeout, and then it was 2nd and 8. Nick Chubb trying to run it. He runs for about 5 yards. Gets, I think it was Lee who tackled him. And then, of course, 3rd and 3. This was the game right here. If the Browns get the first down, it's over. and the Raiders' season's over. Derek Carr's probably getting traded. It's all over for the Raiders. No playoffs. Mark Davis would be interviewing coaches in 2 weeks. I'm telling you, it would have been a complete shit show to end the season. It still could be, by the way. But instead, 3rd and 3. Nick Chubb, no gain. Jonathan Hankins gets behind there. And Diablo, by the way. I want to see more of him. Stops Nick Chubb right there. No gain. Then it goes down to the 2-minute warning where the Browns have to punt to the Raiders. Now the Raiders, no timeouts, right? They had no timeouts at this point, but that they didn't need any timeouts because they just ran up the field on these guys. 8 plays, 41 yards, 1:50 seconds, and just like that, sets them up for a 48-yard field goal. You know, it's pretty tough. Daniel Carlson, by the way, he does drive me crazy. This is a guy, he will miss an extra point he'll miss extra points. No problem. Chip shots. He'll miss it. But you put him out there for a 48-yard field goal, he'll nail it. He will nail it. And let me tell you something. Speaking of field goals, how big was it that Cleveland misses that field goal to go into halftime? That ended up being huge. That ended up being the game, really. I mean, that was just, you don't think of anything of it at the time, but you take those 3 points off the board, and guess what? The Raiders won 16-14. Browns hit that field goal. The Raiders would have needed a touchdown to win that game. And they didn't have another timeout. And as you know, there wasn't really any time on the clock when the Raiders spiked the ball. I believe there was 4 seconds. So, you know, when you're on their 30-yard line, your only hope at that point would have been just to throw it in the end zone and hope something happens. But, you know, Browns would have just put everyone in the end zone. It would have been a Hail Mary type situation on a 30. They would just put everyone on the line, so on the end zone. But luckily, that the Raiders got in position. They spiked the ball. I was really nervous about that with no timeouts. They did it, though. They got it done with 3 seconds left. And then Daniel Carlson hits the game-winning field goal. And the Raiders season stays alive as they win 16-14. Raiders are 7-7 now. And so are the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders pretty much, I mean, the Browns aren't out of it by, anything could happen. As you see, there's upsets everywhere. But, I mean, wow, they moved them down a lot. They really did. I think they moved them down like 3 spots. And the Raiders right now, I believe they're sitting at the 10th spot in the playoff race. So, not too bad. Like I said, what you're going to want, I mean, it's going to be I'm going to be honest with you guys, because I always am. I highly doubt the Raiders are going to run the table. I mean, the Colts are playing fantastic right now. I don't see the Raiders going to Indianapolis and winning. I really don't. I hope they do. I mean, I want them to do that. It would be fantastic if somehow they could win out. But I also don't want them to win out and not make the playoffs, because that would really suck. It would be their fault. When you lose those stupid games, they lost a lot of stupid games this season. People forget about that. A lot of dumb games. That Washington game, they should have never lost against Washington. The Giants game where Derek Carr is throwing interceptions, he's terrible. I mean, come on. And then, just dumb games they lost. They lost that Chicago game. Now, I know there was a lot of stuff going on in that game. Gruden resigned right after the game. But still, they still lost that game. They lost against the Chargers right before that Bears game. Yeah, and then, of course, they got destroyed by the Bengals. They got destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs not once, but twice. They got embarrassed by them. So that's not good. It looks like the Chiefs will win that division. Also, you're going to want to root for the Chargers to lose pretty much every game. They don't have to for the Raiders to make the playoffs, but It would be a lot easier, but the problem is the Chargers have such an easy schedule. That is the problem here. All the teams that are fighting for that last spot to get into the wild card, the Raiders by far have the toughest stretch, in my opinion. Because, they had the Browns, right? Yeah, say what you want about their starters being missing, whatever. Okay, but week 16, they got to play the Broncos. It's in Vegas where the Raiders don't play that good. I don't know what the deal is with that, but they don't play good in Vegas. They really don't. It's like it's not even their home field. They suck in Vegas, actually. So anyways, hopefully they get better real fast because they gotta beat the Broncos. The Broncos probably will not have Teddy Bridgewater. It doesn't look like they will. Come on. If you can't beat Drew Lock, then there's something wrong with you. They just struggled against Nick Mullins. So hopefully the Raiders can squeak out a win here. But remember, Raiders, they completely torch the Denver Broncos last time I played them. Then, of course, in week 17, like I said, I think that will end the season. That's just my personal opinion. I hope it doesn't. But that's when they go to Indianapolis. If somehow they pull off that miracle, they end the season in Vegas against, of course, the LA Chargers, who really, it could come down to that. Now, there are situations, crazy scenarios where the Raiders can lose that last game against the Chargers and still get in the playoffs, being 9-8. I mean, there's some crazy. I mean, the Bengals would basically need to lose. Let me see here. They could beat the Ravens, and then they would have to lose against the Chiefs, and then lose against the Browns in week 18. So, and the Ravens would need to win, pretty much those other two games, after the Bengals game. So, anything could happen, obviously. Anything could happen. That could be the scenario. By the way, if what I just painted for you does happen, it would be the Raiders, the 7th seed, going up against New England Patriots in New England. And nothing. That would be my Super Bowl, by the way. That playoff game, if that actually happened. If that scenario happened where the Raiders played the Patriots in the playoffs in the first round, I would love it, but I would be really scared because, as you know, if you don't know, I live in New England and I can't stand the Patriots. I hate their fans. I hate their team. I know too much about them. Trust me, they're dirtbags. Reporters cover it up. A lot of people cover it up. This is not a good organization, and their fans are the most bandwagon fans you will ever see in your life. Hell, I mean, when the Patriots sucked last year, they're all wearing Tampa Bay jerseys. They still are. They still are. Right now. And then when Patriots started winning, all of a sudden, I didn't see a lot of Tampa Bay jerseys. The Patriots coats came back on. But then when Patriots lost, what was that, last week or the week before? That's when all of a sudden Tampa Bay stuff back on. That's how they roll around here. They're absolutely just the most non-loyal fan base in the NFL. That's what the Patriots are. So if the Raiders could go in there and beat New England, come here and beat New England, oh, it would be my Super Bowl. I don't care if they win the week after, because obviously the Raiders are not a Super Bowl caliber team. But if somehow a miracle happened and they stuck in and they beat the Patriots, it would. I'm telling you right now, I criticize Derek Carr every single week, it seems. Only when he plays bad, though. I am fair. I am very fair. No one can call me a Derek Carr hater. And please, by the way, don't call me that if you're over the age of 13 and you're not, some teenage girl. Because I don't think 40-year-olds wearing Derek Carr jerseys should be calling another man a hater. I mean, it's really, really strange to even be using that word. It's weird. It's weird, man. No one hates Derek Carr. They want the Raiders to win. Why don't you see that? How does no one understand that? How does this fan base, right? You gotta understand, I just cover this team. I grew up a Houston Oilers fan. I'm not like, I'm just covering the Raiders. So I'm just telling you my perspective when I look at this whole thing. It's really weird to see a fan base divided over a quarterback who has not won a playoff game in his whole entire career. Yet they are hell-bent on, no. Derek Carr is the best in the world. And it's like, what do you mean? The Raiders have yet to win a playoff game under Derek Carr. It's been 8 years. Derek Carr is really good in the beginning of the season. He has shown it for 3 years in a row. The Raiders were, 6-2 this year? And fell apart again? This is the 3rd year in a row that has happened. Think about it. I mean, go back to the beginning of the season. Who would have thought the Raiders would crumble this bad? A lot of people would. There's a lot of people in the greatest group in the world, the Raiders Daily Elite, that are real Raider fans and have been watching this for 8 years, and they were saying it in the beginning of the year. They weren't getting excited at all because they wanted to see, they said, wait and see, Derek Carr will collapse. This team always collapses. It happens every year. It's going to happen, and it did happen. And I was defending this guy. I was saying, no, not this year. It looks like, everything's going well. But in all fairness, too, though, this team did go through a lot. The coach resigns. Henry Ruggs kills someone. Damon Arnett has a Terminator 2 gun. Things are just insane over there. And it still is. It's a very dysfunctional organization. And I'm not worried about saying that whatsoever. What are they going to do to me? They can't really... They want to silence me, trust me, but they can't. They can't. I have too big of a platform. My show's too big. They wish they could, but they just can't. But this team, they play hard. I'll tell you what, they have some hard-working players on this team. I know Max Crosby doesn't have 100 sacks, but he works his ass off every single play. Yannick Ngakoue, this guy was a good find. I don't know if the Raiders are able to keep him because he's probably going to demand a lot of money. But they got a lot of good players who work really hard, who really do want to win. But right now, remember, they have a special teams coach as their head coach. So that's not the greatest. No team has ever won a Super Bowl like this. You know what I mean? Never mind even get to the playoffs. So if the Raiders somehow can maneuver that would be insane. Insane if that happened. I just don't see that happening. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm so wrong. I want to see Derek Carr go out there and light it up. But his receivers do got to help. Now, like I mentioned before, there are several plays, by the way, that players were open and Derek Carr didn't see them. There was one play where where he threw I think it was Deshaun Jackson, I believe, or was it Brian Edwards? I forgot who it was. But he threw it. Deshaun Jackson was running right in the middle of the field, running towards the flat. He had a big lead on the guy. If you lead him that football and he catches it, he's gone. He's going for a touchdown. He is gone. And there was another play where I was actually surprised by this one, where Hunter Renfrow was running a slant, in the middle of the field, into kind of a post, and he was open, a lot. He wasn't even covered. There was no one even there. And Derek Carr, he tried to buy some time, and he ended up checking it down, I think, to Josh Jacobs for a yard or two. It was stupid. But it was weird because it wasn't like Derek Carr can't see him, because he was running, I believe, to the right, and that's where Renfrow was running. They're eye to eye. I don't know why he didn't throw him the ball. Maybe he didn't feel confident throwing the football, but it would not have got intercepted. There wasn't a linebacker over the top that could jump up and, whatever. There was no one there. So there's been plays like that going on for the last couple of weeks. That's been a little bit concerning to me. But Derek Carr's play always gets concerning to me in December. But he pulled this one off, guys, in Cleveland. He usually sucks in Cleveland, or sucks in the cold weather. It was a little bit cold there. He doesn't have the best cold weather record in the world, but he pulled it off. And a win is a win. And the Raiders season remains alive at least for another week until they play Denver. I expect this team to beat the shit out of Denver. I don't know about you guys, but I expect a victory. So let's keep it going. You got to start stacking wins. This team is not consistent. They haven't been consistent pretty much all year. They won a couple of games, like 2 games, and then they collapse. They got to really be consistent now if they want any hope. And to think that this team can win 4 games in a row seems like impossible. That's why I say I doubt it's going to happen. But I am always optimistic. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. And yes, they really haven't earned that. But maybe with this win, even though, like I said, it was against a bunch of backups, maybe it gives them some momentum and they go out there and they beat Denver and they survive another week. And we don't know what's going to happen by then. Hopefully Arizona beats the Colts. Who knows what happens in that game? For all we know, Carson Wentz could get injured. We don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen by the time the Raiders play the Colts. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Raiders got to beat Denver first to keep their season alive. They have to win those divisional games. They have to beat Denver, by the way. They have to, because Denver's right there with them. So they have to beat Denver. Can they? Will they? We will find out, and we will talk about it next week, guys. But for now, the season is still alive. So keep the faith, keep the hope, and let's just keep stacking those W's, because that's the only thing that matters on this show is winning. I love winning. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not one of those lose, tie, Raider Nation till I die. I'm a just win baby guy. That's what I am. I will see you guys later. Thank you for listening to the Raiders Daily Podcast. My name is Stephen Michaels. If you want to donate to this podcast, you can do so. It is Venmo at the Raiders Daily Podcast. I would appreciate it. It would help a lot. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at the Raiders Daily. Facebook, The Raiders Daily. It's The Raiders Daily everywhere. All right, guys, I will see you later. Thanks for listening. Peace.